there's no excuses. We're working hard. The team are functioning pretty well, and yet we're not getting results. And so, keep working at the things you believe in. Nothing's changed. We know we're in a tougher league than we were last year, when that performance would have won a game comfortably. I'm sure we're playing against better players. We're in a different league. The secret for this football club is to be ambitious, to invest, to not just in players on the grass, but in the infrastructure of the club, and make it a place where it can attract top players, and that's what we aim to start the process of doing in the summer.
Blackburn Rovers' woeful form continues as they lose once again, but this time against local rivals Preston North End. How much more of this can we take? We'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match review, this time looking back at Blackburn Rovers' shambolic loss up against Preston North End at Ewood Park, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, Luna is with me, my little puppy, she is with me, and she is also upset. But if you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, whoa, football related. We're going to all hear on the channel, boys and girls. We're going to all hear. So let's take a look at the match in a bit more detail. It did take place, obviously, at Ewood Park with 21,577 folks in attendance. And Preston's one and only goal came again, very quick fire. It's either very early in the game or right at the death where we seem to concede our goals. But 8th minute, is it David Johnson? Not too sure his first name, but he managed to get the one and only goal of the game to put Preston well away. And to be honest with you, that's probably the only decent opportunity they had. In fact, let's take a look at the stats down the bottom there. 20 shots for Rovers, 6 for Preston North End on the day. We had 56% of possession. They only had 44. They also had, Preston were more better with their passes. 62% of their passes reached their intended target. Just the 60 for Rovers. We had more dribbles on the ground. They had more aerial battles won. We had more corners as well. But ultimately, we did have a couple of golden chances. And to be honest with you, why on earth are they not getting in the back of the net? Is it like a confidence? To be honest, it just felt mediocre for me on a point of view. You know, there didn't seem to be no rockets up the backside, no urgency to get forward, a lot of backwards passing, sideways passing. If you're in a rut like this, folks, you've got to be scrambling to get a win. And it just didn't seem to be that important for some of the players out there. It's just it's been a huge turn of downward luck for Rovers pretty much since November, the first time that we played Preston. We had a bit of a revival in January in the new year, but with a few games back to back. But they were just hit and miss, folks. We may possibly painting over the cracks. We need to get this season done and dusted. And then hopefully get a better transfer window. Anyway, let's take a look at the starting lineups first and foremost with the host Blackburn Rovers. It was a bit of a weird formation as well, 3-5-2, I believe. Give or take, Raya in goal, Williams, Mulgrew and Nyambe at a back three with Bennett, Reid on the wing backs, Evans, Smallwood in the middle of the park, Dack, Armstrong and Graham leading the line. Now here are my match ratings. They're not very good, folks. Raya with a 6. Basically, he had pretty much nothing to do. I just picked the ball out of the net the one time. As for those 3 centre backs, Williams, Mulgrew both had 4s. Nyambe had a 6. I saw him doing a lot of running and pretty much a lot of the errors were coming down the left-hand side. No offence, Williams, but yes, it's your fault. Bennett on the left as well, 4. You know, yeah, he's Mr. Universal. You can play him all over the place. But right now, he looks rusty as can be. I know he gives everything for the shirt, and that's fine and all that. So does Conway give enough for the shirt, but he's not getting in game time. So maybe let's, you need to do something, Mowbray. And I think you've got to bin some of these players. No matter how loyal they've been, no matter how much they love the club, there's a time and place for that. Evans and Smallwood both got 5s. Reid got a 5. He looked average. He looked average. Before I was singing his praises, but so far the past few times I've seen him, he's pretty much ass. Dack with a 5, Armstrong with a 4, pretty much useless. Why are we not using his pace? A lot of long balls. I know there's the diagonal pass. That seems to be it. That's all we got. That's our one-trick pony. Long ball, Danny Graham heads it on. Maybe one of our other players will grab it. But it's just not working out. Graham with a 6, basically because of his hard work. Quick look at the Preston North End lineup. Yep, 4-1, 4-1. Running goal, Hughes, Davies, Storey and Fisher. Ledson in the middle of the park. He was an Oxford player, just like Rothwell, but he seems to be getting game time. Gallagher, Browne, Johnson, Nmecha and Maguire. Even without Pearson and Robinson, well, it's just unfortunate. I think this it's starting to sink in a little bit. It's just unfortunate that this result has come in the back of a cluster of 5 or 6 defeats in amongst whatever. Because if we were on like a 6-game winning streak and we'd lost this game, it might not be that bad, because we were the better side today. We were, but we just didn't have that stroke of luck to get the ball in the back of their net. But hey, you know, I don't think it's going to bother any Preston fan whatsoever. Their unbeaten streak continues. They're flying towards the playoff spots if they can continue this way. And you never know, folks. You never know. This might be the momentum train that gets them into the playoffs. And you never know. It could kick them on upwards and beyond. How mad would that be if Burnley and Preston are in the Premier League next season? Anyhow, let's take a look at some more stats for you. Quick look at the shots there. Like I said, 20 shots for Rovers on the day. Just the 6 blue ones for Preston, and one of them in the back of the net. We had more passes than they did, 403 to their 326. We had more touches, 603 to their 538. And also some of the stats and gizmos in there for you. And down the bottom of there on the graphic, you can see whereabouts the shots took place. Now, this is what irks me a little bit. The zones where the shots took place. 15 of those 20 shots took place inside the penalty area. Why? And we were limited to just 5 outside the box. Why don't you have a couple more, boys and girls? Have a couple of long range efforts. You know, I see all these goal of the month contenders, and we're never in the mix because all our goals are scrappy little buggers. Let's try and live a little. If you're a heat map man just like me, take a look at the heat maps. On the right hand side, you can see Declan Rudd was the busier man with a big old orange splodge in the goalkeeping zone. Also on the right hand side for Rovers, Nyambe and possibly, who's on the right on that? Possibly Armstrong on the right hand side, the busier of the two attacking, or two sides for Rovers. But ultimately, to little or no effect. I have a little bit what I might say about the match. What did the opposition fans have to say? Well, Jordan Davison was there, and he dropped us this lovely little video with his point of view as a Preston North End fan.
Well, back home, and that was a mad match. Very mad match. Good atmosphere, I must say. And once we scored the goal, we just basically sat back and defended the lead. Did it quite well. Apart from that disallowed goal, which is a bit debatable. I won't really say anything about that. But yeah, I have to say, Rovers can't really shoot. Did everything right apart from the finishing. Causing all the problems, doing the right passes, running at our defence. But when you got in front of goal, blasted over the bar or wide. Or just saved by Rudd. Couldn't attack. And that's what won us the game in the end. We got lucky to win that. Very lucky, but I won't complain. 3 points, 1-0, clean sheet. Couldn't really ask for more.
Now you've heard what the opposition fans have to say. You've heard a little bit what I've had to say. What did the gaffer have to say? Here he is, Tony Mowbray, talking shortly after the match and the results. Here he comes.
Well, I think the attributes of this team are there on show. I think every week. I don't think whether we win in early season, up until the end of January, or whether we're losing since then, it's pretty much the same. I would suggest. I think the performance is what we've had all season. At this moment, we're not able to turn them into goals and victories. So, performance-wise, effort-wise, drive, desire, commitment, honesty was all there today. The bit that makes the difference, a bit of quality around the edge of the box, the final pass, the final contact on a finish, obviously wasn't there. We didn't score today, but ultimately, I can't be too harsh on them today. Unless we're left frustrated, I think. Well, it'd be frustrating for the boy who hits the ball as well. There's no intention to do it. Ultimately, it's and you could see the contacts in the box. I think Bradley had a fantastic chance back of the 6-yard box to side foot it in the net, and he puts it in the ground and into goalie's arms. We had a few decent opportunities to score and didn't take them. I think think the game became a bit bitty. You know, they score early and then, you know, too many stoppages. You know, I'm very cautious not to sit here and moan about the official, but goodness me, it's, you know, it's a local derby. You're allowed to show a bit of commitment, and you're allowed to tackle people, in my opinion. In a local derby, the referee should have given a bit more leeway today, I think, but it seemed to be full of stoppages, and so a frustration from that aspect as well. But it's football. We just have to stick together, work hard, keep going. I say that every week to you, and if I could see a drop off on desire and determination to get results, I'd be more concerned. I think at the moment we find that same level every week, and we'll win games, because as you watched us for 6 months of this season, it was the same effort, and generally we were coming away with victories, and I don't see a drop off. And at this moment we've hit a patch where we can't win a game, and but what's the answer? Keep working hard, keep at it, keep believing in each other, and it'll turn, I'm sure. I've just told you that we stick together, you work hard, they're fully aware of it. I think it's and if we're getting pumped every week and we think never in that game, then it would be a concern, but that's not been the case in any of the games, I would suggest. I think we could have easily sat here and kept the January run of victories going. I think they've all been tight games. I've talked a lot about it. You know, you can throw the stats at me, no problem, but we can talk about each individual game if we need to. And you know, an offside goal, we lost 1-0 against Borough. How it's not offside, I'll never know. It's televised game, blatantly offside, and the official of that game actually apologised to me the following week, said sorry, he's watched it back, it was offside, it should have been offside. But there's one game, you know, how we never got a positive result at Reading. You know, you can all of it really. We can go through all the games really. Bristol City, who are flying at the moment, I thought we competed very well out here against them, but they all come across as excuses. There's no excuses. We're working hard. The team are functioning pretty well, and yet we're not getting results. And so, keep working at the things you believe in. Nothing's changed. We know we're in a tougher league than we were last year, when that performance would have won a game comfortably. I'm sure we're playing against better players. We're in a different league. The secret for this football club is to be ambitious, to invest, to not just in players on the grass, but in the infrastructure of the club, and make it a place where it can attract top players, and that's what we aim to start the process of doing in the summer.
Meanwhile, what have the fans been going on social media? Well, I couldn't really get to Twitter because it was buried by the time I got to there. Obviously, early kickoff, day out, hiking and all that kind of good stuff. All the tweets were buried long time ago. So I went onto the old BRFCS forum. It's like the Momo challenge, folks, on there. It's absolutely horrific what people are writing. It's pretty nasty reading. Well, not nasty. It's just blunt, very blunt. Basically, there's a huge Mulgrew out contingent out there. Revenge Blue said this: it's fair to say I completely lost my rag today when Evans went AWOL, Bennett went AWOL, and Williams came over to deal with it and got skinned for their goal. Yet another goal conceded inside 10 minutes, and I think in the last 3 games we've been trailing inside 20 minutes. After that, an absolute shambles, players swapping about from one side of the pitch to the other every 5 minutes. No changes at half-time. After one of the worst halves I've ever seen, no one left on the halfway line for opposition corners with us 1 down at home. For me, the manager has completely lost the plot. This side is rotten to the core. Woof. Sack Mulgrew before the day is out. Rip up the contracts of Williams, Evans, Bennett, Conway. Bring Damien Johnson in and promote some young lads who might actually wear the shirt with price. So show some enthusiasm and put a shift in. Hashtag fuming. JH Rover said this: only positives today are that we aren't any nearer the bottom 3 than we were yesterday, thanks to Sheffield United. And we didn't get hammered as we did at Deepdale. Groundhog Day stuff again, though. Our home form has now deserted us and was previously the cornerstone of our points return indeed. Norwich, Middlesbrough, Bristol City and Preston, all the same old tale. Narrow defeats, 0 goals for us, lots of possession, but now to show for it. Wigan is a must win. No ifs or buts. My guess is we'll start slowly, salvage a draw, and it'll be dressed up as a win. OJ Rovers said this, summed it up for me when we were kicking the ball out twice for their players, rolling around faking injury. This was a local derby. You don't kick it out, especially when it's obvious they are just time-wasting. Pathetic. It should have been a referee's call, to be honest with you, but Yeah. Anyway, Big Dog Steel said this. This is prior to kickoff. So how many players are being played out of position today? I count 5. 4 out of 5 defenders are being played out of position. 5 if you include Mulgrew as a converted centre mid. Meanwhile, Jim MK2 said this. Go now, Mowbray. Please go. You don't know what to do, and these players don't want to play for you. The club is in free fall. Meanwhile, Blue Blood said this. Disappointing but predictable. The wheels have well and truly come off. Thing is, I think these players could do better despite the holes in the squad. However, with current management and tactics, we're currently to go down, or certainty to go down next season. Get the players performing better. Not seen it yet. Buy better players. 3 or 4 successes in a dozen transfers suggest otherwise. Tony Mowbray has got to go now because of this season, but to ensure next is not a disaster. Meanwhile, one Phil T said this. The confidence has totally gone. You can see it in the play. It's overcautious, pedestrian, no urgency. Nobody wants the ball. What the hell happened over the last few months? Maybe reality hit home or something. Into the final few here. Neil said this. How my opinion has changed in these past months. Hate to say it, but Mowbray has to go. Now, I think every manager has a lifespan at the club, and I think he's run his out. It's similar to Bowyer. Did a good job initially, but could not take us forwards. I can see where things are going. Next season is looking a certain relegation scrap. They need to have someone lined up with proven quality in this league. Not sack him and have no plan. Just one of these things, I think, unfortunately. Cheers, Tony, but it's time to move on. Meanwhile, Stuart said this. Oh no, this is continuing on, sorry. The reality is Mowbray and Wagner have a strong bond, and I can't see him replacing Tony Mowbray. If he doesn't, I can see things getting toxic unless performances and results change dramatically over the next enough to get him into the summer. Tensions are already pretty high. Fans are on players' backs. Lost faith in the manager. Results and performances not getting better. Better letting someone come in now to prepare for next season. Possibly something to explore. Anyway, Stuart does say this. Anyone blaming the ref today is chasing a burglar out of a burning house. Mowbray has lost this game. The plot, the players. He has clearly run out of ideas, and his stock response to poor runners to go back to basic and pick his League One team and whichever player random.org spits up. The line-up spoke volumes. The formation shuffling in the first half before finally admitting he got it wrong and brought on some attacking players. Just backed it up. It's like he's trying to keep things tight and they try to nick one later on. Classic Bowyer tactics. Newsflash, they didn't work for Bowyer either. Done.
Else went on this weekend in the Championship. Let's take a look at it. Kicking off the weekend, it was Norwich leaders, continuing their amazing season. 1-0 winners over Swansea. Obviously, Rovers losing to Preston in one of the early kickoffs on Saturday. The other one, Sheffield United beating Rotherham, which kind of works in our favour a little bit. Limits Rotherham gaining in on us. Obviously, we're trying to keep that chasing pack, that relegation mess well away. Nottingham Forest, turned on a good performance against Hull City again. Hull hot and cold at the moment, 3-0 winners for Forest. Derby, Sheffield Wednesday battled out a 1-1 draw. Steve Bruce doing a fantastic job. Might not be getting the wins, but he's getting the draws. Bolton beat Millwall at the bottom of towards the bottom of the table. Big win for Bolton, trying to claw themselves out the old drop zone. QPR though couldn't get going as well as a game lathered with red cards, 2 red cards at least. QPR and Stoke ended as a 0-0 draw. Middlesbrough lost to Brentford, who continue their rise up the table. Reading beat Wigan 3-2. Lastminute.com goal down there at the old Majewski. And that will do Wigan's confidence the world of no good. And they're going to be up against Rovers on Tuesday. West Brom and Ipswich in a game that cost Darren Moore his job. That's right, 4th place, West Brom. Doing away with their manager. Bristol City lost as well to Leeds. Tomorrow will be the Midlands derby. Now, what has that done to the table? Let's take a look at it. Leeds are still 2 points adrift of Norwich, who are sky high, 72 points on the board. Sheffield United, West Brom, Middlesbrough and Derby occupy the playoff spots. As for the bottom 3, Ipswich picked up a valuable point. Bolton picked up a valuable 3 points. Rotherham, what did they? They lost, right? They did lose to Sheffield United. Meanwhile, Millwall lost. Wigan lost. Majewski's, Reading, they're up to 19th of the table, 36 points on the board. Still a few points behind us. Meanwhile, Rovers slipped to 17th. Preston climb up to 9th with 51 points on the board. What happens, though, next time out? Obviously, some midweek crunch games. Obviously, the highlight of all that will be at Ewood Park once again. Hopefully, Rovers can get a win, because I know Wigan's away form is meant to be one of the worst in the division, if not the worst in the division. They take on Rovers Tuesday at the Majeski. Bristol City entertain Ipswich, bottom club Ipswich. Can they get another point on the board? Perhaps Sheffield United against a difficult Brentford side. Bolton against Sheffield Wednesday. Can they get back-to-back wins? Reading up against Leeds at the Majeski. Difficult one there. I suspect Notts Forest against Aston Villa. That'll be a bit tasty as well. That's on Wednesday. Preston are the victors today. They'll take on Middlesbrough. Difficult one there. Obviously, Middlesbrough trying to get themselves playoff bound, as are Preston. Birmingham up against Millwall. QPR against Rotherham at the strugglers. A couple of strugglers battling out there. What else we got? Derby up against Stoke. Hull take on Norwich at Carrow Road. And a newly fired, managerless, should I say, West Brom take on Swansea. And that is on Wednesday. So plenty to look forward to just around the corner.
That's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a good old thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, whoa, football related. We're going to all here under one roof. And I'm on the roads, just in case I didn't tell you that. Hence why some things might be a little less lengthy. And we'll be doing, obviously, I'll be doing a match preview for the Wigan game pretty in quick time. Obviously, we play on Tuesday, so it doesn't give us much time to prep for the old preview. But I'll give it a shot. Luna is also hopefully going to get over it. She's been down in the dumps all day. But yes, not a great. It's been absolutely woeful, and to think that a team in 4th place today in the Championship fired their manager because he wasn't doing enough. You know, I'm not saying you know, sack Mowbray, but you know, it just goes to show some clubs' standards are much higher than ours. And you know, I had a quick look at the record that Owen Coyle had before he got fired, and it wasn't as bad as this. It was not as bad as this. So it is very concerning. And I'm hoping, I'm just hoping for the next win, and hopefully it'll come quickly, because that gap between us and those bottom 3 spots will not remain this big for much longer. Anyway, I'm going to let you get out of it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash a thumbs up. If you're new, smash a subscribe. Back here, same time, same place, in a few days' time, as we look forward to Wigan. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.